We do have a consent agenda, and I'd like to entertain a motion to approve that agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to make a motion to remove actually item R2397-11. I'd like that to go under the regular agenda, please, as item number 1A for discussion.
I'll second.
Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and move to the regular agenda then. Please. Oh, we have to vote on that? Okay.
No, you don't.
I didn't think we had to vote on that.
Don't vote on removal. Good. Okay. But
Right. If they
Still have a consent
anybody that
agenda.
wants to pull it can pull it. It's automatic. Right.
I'd make a motion.
Right.
Mayor Pro Tem, the item R239711 has now become item 1A. However, the board still need to approve the regular Board of Aldermen meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Alderman Melson,
Yes.
Alderman White,
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton,
Yes.
Alderman Azier,
Yes.
Alderman Pardue,
Yes.
Read the next item, please.
a resolution appointing John Ness to the Policeman's Retirement Fund.
Alderman White.
Thank you. I would just like to ask my fellow board members to hold off on this resolution. I think with our strategic planning and goal setting coming up, that this is something that we need to deal with. I'm uncomfortable putting someone on another board right now when there's issues with the fund that we're going to be looking at. And then two, finding the people for all of these boards, I think, is something that we'll probably be dealing with. So if we could just, and I want everyone to understand that it's not Mr. Ness that I have an issue with. I think that he's served very well on the Policeman's Retirement Fund, and I've dealt with John in a lot of other organizations, the Chamber and several others, and he himself has sat in a seat on this board. I just think that as far as putting someone on this board and, dealing with the retirement fund, it's something that we should just simply put aside until after our goal planning sessions.
So you're making a motion to carry this over?
Absolutely. Well, although I don't have a date set, do we need a date or can we just table it indefinitely? I would make a motion to table it indefinitely.
Second.
Okay. We'll call the vote on that, please.
Alderman White,
Yes.
Alderman Melson,
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk,
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, will we have an opportunity for discussion prior to the vote?
Yeah, I apologize. I just assumed that we'll go back and we'll have discussion for that. Do you want to discuss the item?
I don't have anything myself, but just in case anyone
Okay.
has comments.
Alderman Kramer?
Yeah, I too agree that John Ness has done a good job. He's a good man. However, I don't feel like his appointment to this board has anything to do with the decision we make down the road in regards to it. So I personally can't support it. I believe John Ness is an upstanding individual and one that has had the heart of the city in his mind and all the decisions that he's made. So thank you.
Alderman White, do you want to reply to that?
No, I think
Okay.
that John has done a wonderful job, and this has nothing to do with him. It just is about how we appoint people on our boards, and it also deals with the Policeman's Retirement Fund and other issues that we need to look at. I think those need to be tackled before we start just automatically reappointing people.
Any other discussion? I'd like to ask our attorney, according to I'm not sure what book we operate under, Robert Rules, if you table something indefinitely, aren't you in effect killing it then?
We'll require a motion to remove it from the table to bring it back up.
Right, so it doesn't automatically come back up unless we make the motion to bring it back up.
Not in the present form, it will not.
Right, so you still want to make it to carry over or to table it indefinitely?
I just want to table it indefinitely because we don't know, we cannot say for certain what the outcome of our goal-setting session is. I think several of us have ideas in mind. And with that being said, we don't know how quickly we're going to move on it. We do know that we have boards that need appointments made, and I'm assuming that we'll get around to that efficiently and in a quick manner, but I'm reluctant to put an exact date on it.
If tabled, then it would require an action by one of the aldermen or mayor to request it be put on a future agenda. Otherwise, it will remain tabled.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's killed. I don't want to distinguish that, Councilman Azier, but it is removed from active agendas under this motion.
It's simply what we would do in the normal course of action, is bring it back as a new item.
And then, in effect, we'd be operating that committee short one member. Would that be correct? Unless we choose to bring it back.
Do they even meet?
Yeah, because he's the current member of the board, he will continue until the reappointment is made.
Okay.
Mayor Protem.
Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I guess my question would be, what would be the harm of reappointing them, even though we could still reorganize the committee after this reappointment? I feel it'd be more harmful to not reappoint him and then it'd be short a member until we do reorganize it.
And I can understand that. And
No, that's okay.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Alderman Warren.
It just makes sense to me that if you're saying we're going to do some reorganization, that you don't start adding people to a board and then turn around and reorganize. So we're one person short. A lot of our boards are one person or more short. So let's take care of the business we need to take care of and then add people to the board. To me, it's just a logical thing to do.
I guess my fear is that we're not for sure going to reorganize things. So I think personally, what I feel is I feel we should keep business as usual, and since this is obviously a good fit for the committee, that we keep things going until we decide to reorganize. I mean, I don't feel we're there yet. It may be something we look at, but that's just where I stand right now.
Alderman Mock?
Yeah, how often do they meet?
Currently, they meet on a quarterly basis.
Quarterly basis.
But
And
they can decide.
When was their last meeting?
Last meeting, I believe, was in March or April timeframe.
Okay, so we should have one coming, or they should have one coming up. And another thing, it's reappointing. We're not adding another person. We're reappointing a person. So that's all I gotta say.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Azier.
Yes.
And it's kind of my feeling, and kind of as I pointed out, Mr. Ness has been an upstanding citizen in the community, has served on the Board of Aldermen, and has been able to make decisions for this community based on the best interest of this community. And I personally feel like it would not be the right thing to do to not reappoint him. He's been like I said, an upstanding individual, and should the board come out with a direction that they wanted to go based on what they found at that goal setting session, I'm sure Mr. Ness would feel obligated to go the direction of that board. So, he's a good man, good person, got a good heart for this community.
Alderman Melson?
If this is tabled, Mr. Ness remains on that board until a reappointment or a new appointment is there, correct?
Yeah.
So just voting on this as tabling indefinitely does not remove Mr. Ness from that committee. That's correct. All right, thank you.
Then let's vote.
I'm going to ask the question here. His term has expired. He automatically remains on the committee, even though his term expired? Okay.
Unless removed, that's correct.
Okay, so in essence, to vote yes for the current resolution here, in reality, is to leave him on the board indefinitely, unless we call for a vote to bring it back up again and remove him. Is that correct?
Yes, I think your options at this point are to table the motion, in which case he's going to remain unless you remove him or he resigns, or in the alternative, by not reappointing, the one distinction is if you reappoint, he has a 3-year term under your deal. So if you're thinking about changing the composition or the terms, then it might be wiser to table it. I don't know what you're thinking about in this goal-setting session, but this would reestablish his appointment for 3 years.
I'm going to ask Alderman White, is this the motion that you want to make then?
My motion is to table it indefinitely.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Ness will remain on the board until we change that.
Let's make sure someone keeps a note so we can remember this and bring it back up. A post-it note.
This is kind of a strange way to do business. Have a special motion to not reappoint him so we can put him back on the board. So I have allowed, a little more casual discussion, and I think it's been done in good spirit, so I appreciate that. Did you want to say something, Alderman Melson?
No.
Okay. Any other discussion? Then I'll go ahead and I'll call for vote, please.
Alderman White?
Yes.
Alderman Melson?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Alderman Pardue?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton?
Yes.
Alderman Azier?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
No.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Reading of item number 2, please.
A resolution amending the fiscal year 2010-2011 budget by transferring $4,895 from the miscellaneous line item to the laboratory fees line item.
Chief, do you have any comments?
We're just asking for transfer funds from one account to the other to cover some bills largely due to, some of them were old cases, the recent, had a recent homicide in April that went to trial. And prosecutors asked for additional lab fee work that was largely drove our bills up this year. And we still have some ongoing investigations.
Any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion? We'll call for the vote,
Oh,
please.
no, I have questions.
I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up.
What amount should be kept in this account at a minimum during a year?
We were budgeting based on history, on years, and I believe we had $1,200 budgeted a month, and we're averaging $2,500, almost $2,600 a month. We do believe that we will make it through the rest of the year, but largely it's driven by what types of crimes we have and how much lab work we have to do. So,
And that was part of my question too, is that will this amount, the transfer of funds in the amount of $4,895 last through the budget that you need for the rest of the year?
we hope so.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I grant that. But
Right. I mean, we hope so, yes. We're hoping that we won't have to.
There's not a reason, but that should basically get you through the rest of this budget year.
We hope so, yes.
Okay. And then you said that this was, there was some additional expenses on the recent homicide case that just went to trial, that there was some need
Yes.
for the lab things. And then you also said old cases. Do you have old cases that you are now bringing back to the forefront that need that type of lab work?
We are doing some DNA on the case, on a homicide case that we're working now. To save or to not spend all the money up front and do all the DNA, all the swab testing. We'd piecemeal it. So, if we are lucky enough to put something together, then we don't have to do all the work and spend all the money. So there is ongoing expenses with current homicide investigations.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe the city clerk needs some help as to who you acknowledge made the motion and who you acknowledge seconded that motion.
Okay.
Is it Alderman Ertz?
The motion was, Mr. Ertz.
And who is the second?
Was Alderman Pardue.
Thank you.
Now we'll call for the vote, please.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Pardue?
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton?
Yes.
Alderman Melson?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Azier?
Yes.
Alderman White?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
Read item 3, please.
A resolution rescinding Resolution R-2378-11 and authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Solid Construction Solutions, LLC for the 2011 concrete repair project in an amount not to exceed $134,182.20.
Mr. Knoll, do you have any comments?
Yes, the reason for this is the original contractor that was selected went out of business and was unable to execute the contract after submitting the low bid. Solid Construction Solutions LLC was the second low bid, so we have recommended them as a replacement for the original low bidder. We have completed some additional research after bringing the request to the municipal committee. They wanted some more information about references. The contractor did provide some references. All of them were in the private industry, and we called 3 of them, and they all had good things to say about the contractor as well. So we do feel confident about recommending this contractor to move forward with it. They have picked up the contracts and are working on the execution for us because we need a quick turnaround on this project because we've lost about around a month in our timing with this issue that has come up before us. So they are working on the contract. We will recommend the installation of the granite in the concrete for a more durable concrete mixture. And here to answer any other questions anybody may have.
Do we have any discussion? Alderman Melson.
With this new contractor, do you feel that they're stable enough with the reference checks and stuff to be able to complete the project
I have no...
to the end? I mean, there's always a variable, but...
Correct. We have performance bonds and payment bonds in place to protect the city in case they are not able to complete in case they run into financial difficulties. But at this point, we assume that they're fully aware of the consequences of the prices they've provided. So.
And did the other Miller Paving or the other one before this, did they have the performance bond and such?
Yes, they did. Yeah, we have performance and payment bonds on all of our projects to protect the city from instances such as that.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Alderman Mock.
Just motion to approve.
Second.
Who was the second on that? Kramer, okay. Any other discussion?
Yes, Jim.
Alderman Ertz.
Yes, does the bond also include subcontractors?
Yes, that's what the payment bond is for, is to protect suppliers and subcontractors of the main contractor to make sure that they don't collect payment and then don't pay their subcontractors. If that were to happen, the city would still be liable to pay them. So that's why they have to post a bond to make sure that they pay their subcontractors and suppliers as well.
And is this company out of Lee Summit?
Yes, it is.
Do you have an idea about how many employees they have?
No, I don't. I don't think they're a really large firm.
I thought I looked it up. I saw where they had 2. That's why I was really curious as to subcontractors being.
They may not have a.
It looks like a small operation. Thank you.
Andy, I do have a question. Did you say these projects would be completed in a month, or you would know in about a month?
No, we lost about a month in our timing.
Okay.
We provided some time frame between the completion of the concrete package and the overlay package. So we need to move as quickly as we can to get them started. So,
And do you have an estimate? I have people in Ward 2 who have asked me about the concrete work. Do you have a time frame of when you think they will be completed?
when the work will be
Yeah, it will be
completed?
like this fall?
No, it'll be this early summer.
Okay,
It'll be
early
within the next couple of months that will be completed with the concrete
Okay.
work.
Any other discussion? Mr. Hamilton?
In looking at the map where these various areas are going to be improved, I assume that this is part of some larger plan whereby various areas are identified over time, et cetera, et cetera. Is that correct, or is this?
Yes, that's correct. This is two things. One is to go back and repair some concrete that we have not been able to get to for some time within the city. And then the other portion of it is to repair concrete and sidewalk along roadways that we'll be doing overlay, and then also the lightweight aggregate seal project. So that goes throughout the city. So that will be the next two parts of the annual roadway maintenance program that we'll be bringing forward. The first one is this concrete project. Second one will be the overlay. Third one will be the lightweight aggregate seal. And then a fourth one will be some pavement marking.
So in terms of the concrete repair stuff, which this first one deals with, that I assume that is an ongoing issue year after year, where there's various areas that.
Correct. We'll try to focus along the roads that we're overlaying so that we don't have bad curb up against new asphalt, to make sure we have a good closed seal, a closed joint between the curb and gutter and the asphalt. But then also any other issues that may come up throughout the year. As part of the budget discussions this previous year, we decided to contract out all our concrete work simply because we couldn't be competitive with the prices that we were getting from the private sector. So now we compile that list every year and then go out and complete that work.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Van Buskirk.
Mr. Knoll, I just want to thank you for getting the additional information that we asked for in municipal committee. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Alderman Lightfoot.
I was just curious, is there a time frame, a time limit on completion of the job?
The bid is 45 days from the time they start.
Thanks.
Is there other discussion?
Mr.
Hanson,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Do we anticipate any change orders down the road? Of course, that's something that's always kind of hard to predict, but when you get into like sidewalk work and stuff like that, there probably isn't typically too much as far as change orders.
We don't anticipate a large sum of change orders. There'll always be a small amount that we anticipate, and there may be some extra work that we may add to it if we think if we can complete some of the work as we're going along, because a lot of this repair work was based off of observations during January and February, and by the time we get there, we may have to take a little bit more linear feet of sidewalk or of curb. So there is that chance for increased quantities as we get actually measured quantities done.
So, well, in looking at the map, there's a couple locations that I'm thinking of where some people have some deteriorated curbs and stuff like that. And we were going to go out and look at those. And of course, what I'm trying to, because I got to communicate with these people, the possibility of it being put off towards next year, or is it something we might be able to squeeze in? Or
it's something we'll try to squeeze in as much as we can within our budget. We need to bring in some of the asphalt bids to make sure where they're at first, because that's the one that gives us the most questions as to how much that's going to be. With the volatile oil prices, that's the one that concerns us the most.
Okay.
So after we get those bids in, we should be able to have a much better feeling of if we have available funds to go back and repair even more at that point.
Okay. Well, and as Alderman Van Buskirk said, I do appreciate everything that you guys have done, your diligence in getting out in the community and looking and seeing where the needs were at. Of course, we got sometimes more needs than we do money, but I appreciate you prioritizing that and your diligence in doing what you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jason, I just have a quick question. We had dialogue a couple months ago regarding the curb that was caving in on Maywood around 73rd. And because of that, the storm box was starting to cave in too. Is this on that project?
I believe our guys already fixed that.
They already fixed that. Okay, thank you.
I believe so.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Mock, Alderman Mock, and a second from Alderman Kramer. Would you please read the vote?
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Azier,
Yes?
Alderman Hamilton,
Yes.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman White,
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Pardue,
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Alderman Nelson.